Sandbox MMA fans, UFC 303 was this weekend, and I am going to make another matchmaking video matching up everyone on the card that I think is significant enough to make matchmaking for. And yeah, I skipped the reaction video. I think you've seen him a lot already. I didn't have a voice at all yesterday, and I barely have one today. Just went to a wedding this weekend, so I figured everyone else has already seen all the reaction videos. We know what happened. Overall recap, I will say, I think it was kind of an underwhelming card. Pereira, sick knockout, obviously. Peyton Talbot, sick knockout, obviously. And Joe Pyfer, sick knockout, obviously. Diego Lopes, Dan Ige, savages for stepping up, but everything else, super shit performances, super shit fights. So, very weird card, very top-heavy card. But we're going to go into matchmaking right now for UFC 303. And as we always do, we shift this up to the top here. We're going top right corner this time. So, without further ado, UFC 303 matchmaking, starting with the prelims with this random fucking thing up here. Ricky Simón got slaughtered. Absolutely slaughtered by Vinicius Oliveira. Not a ton of damage done, but he got schooled. I guess schooled is the right way to put it. I just think that I thought Ricky Simón was going to be able to get the takedowns. He did not. He was not successful with them. Oliveira was able to pop back up when he did get 2 out of the 12, I think he landed. That's 3 in a row for Ricky Simón, man. Not overly impressive. Yeah, I don't really know what comes next for Ricky Simón. So, I do know what's next. But it's nothing impressive. Cody Garbrandt. You give Cody Garbrandt a shot up in the rankings. He gets a win outside the rankings. And maybe with a win here, he can take a shot into the rankings. I think Cody Garbrandt's a good fighter. We haven't seen this fight made yet. Let's make it happen. I'd be interested to see, and I think we can get Cody Garbrandt in the win column, and that's the point here. Get Cody Garbrandt in the win column. Ricky Simón has just been overrated his entire career, it seems. And if you do this one at Madison Square Garden on the prelims, I think it would be a pretty good fight to have on the prelims there. So, Cody Garbrandt, Ricky Simón, make it happen. Vinicius Oliveira, great win. Like I mentioned, schooled Ricky Simón easily. Let's get him fighting on the prelims in Abu Dhabi at UFC 308. Said Nurmagomedov. Now, I know he called out Adrian Yanez, and I actually like that call out. They could do that fight, but I'd like to see him go up another step almost. If he beats Said, then he can take a shot at those rankings, and I would love to see him fight Said Nurmagomedov. I think it's a fight that he can make with a relatively quick turnaround. It's interesting. 2 guys that like to strike, 2 guys that are dynamic. Make it happen. 308 prelim, Said Nurmagomedov, Vinicius Oliveira. We haven't seen Said fight in quite some time. Probably going to want to fight on that Abu Dhabi pay-per-view at 308 on October 26th, I believe it is. Said Nurmagomedov, Vinicius Oliveira. That's a fun matchup. Let's make it happen. And I'm sorry, Vinicius Oliveira didn't call out Adrian Yanez because Peyton Talbot did. And that's why I want to see Adrian Yanez, Peyton Talbot. He called him out. I think it's a great step up in competition. That's a good fight to have happen. You got to make this kid a star. He had a knockout in 19 seconds. He is quite zesty, I will say that. But the real Sean O'Malley, he's not the real Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is Sean O'Malley. Looked really good. He looked really good. 19 seconds. Again, just sends a 1-2 down the pipe as he times a leg kick coming in from Yanis Gamori. It was a good knockout. He sits there. He's very chill, relaxed. The UFC is trying to promote this guy, so he's going to get a bunch of hate. It's just what happens. Same thing happens like when I usually hate fighters when the UFC try and push them. But I think this is a dude that can be promotable. Get him on a McGregor card. Get him on the Sphere. Get him on these big cards so we can have these star-making performances and you can have somebody to build in the bantamweight division that's young. Peyton Talbot, Adrian Yanez, 307 prelim. I think that McGregor is going to be on the 307 prelim in Salt Lake City. 307 card in Salt Lake City. Now, he might just be on the Sphere in Vegas. I don't think the UFC are going to make the Sphere the best card of all time by having McGregor and then title fights underneath it. I think it's going to be 2-3 title fights. You're going to get Marab and Sean. You might get Ilya Max. I don't know that you'll actually get that, though. You'll get Grasso, Shevchenko. You're going to have some title fights on there. But 307, because 306 is going to be so stacked, is going to need some of these good fights. Prelim headliner right here. Peyton Talbot, Adrian Yanez. That would be a sick fight. Jillian Robertson gets another TKO victory. Let's have her fighting on the prelims in November on a fight night. Start moving up in the rankings. She's ranked here at strawweight. Luana Pinheiro. It's a good shot up the rankings. It's someone Jalayan Robinson has not fought yet, and it'll be a good matchup. So Jalayan Robinson, Luana Pinheiro, not going to spend too much time here. I think it's a no-brainer. Charles Jourdain took a sad loss. December, do a fight night. Maybe in Canada. If they do it in January, you wait till then. But he's kind of too based for Canada as it is. Prelim fight night in December gives him like 6 months off after that beating he took from Gene Silva. Pat Sabatini. Two guys, similar spots in the featherweight rankings. Neither guys need a shot up at the rankings yet, both coming off losses. I think it makes all the sense in the world to match these guys up. Let's see how it goes. Andre Touchy-Feely got a win over Cub Swanson. Barely. Was not overly impressive. Not something that gets you a shot up into the rankings, obviously. It was a super close fight. Let's test him. Let's see where he stands. And I think the counter argument of this is timing works great for another dude on the card, Gene Silva. Gene Silva knocked out Jourdain very cleanly. Sick knockout. He's a violent striker. He missed weight, so get that shit under control. But yeah, Gene Silva versus Andre Feely is a good matchup. Really good matchup. And the winner of this can start looking at that ranking position, the 15 spot, can start looking at the guy just outside there. So Gene Silva, Andre Feely makes all the sense in the world. Main card of a fight night in November. I'm totally okay with this. I think this is a good enough fight to put on the main card. Open up the main card with it. Gene Silva is going to be a very entertaining fighter for the UFC, and he's very ominous as well. He's a very ominous presence, and he goes out there to put people's lights out, so I like to see that. Joe Pyfer. Sick knockout. Sick knockout over Marc-Andre Barriault. First round, minute 25. Put him on a fight night in October. Let him co-main. So he takes 4 months, turns around, co-main event, Ikram Aliskerov. Think it would be a sick fight? You could have this on the Abu Dhabi main card. I just don't think the UFC is going to put Joe Pyfer in a position where he can get robbed out there in Abu Dhabi. But this is a good fight. Two guys just outside the rankings that both deserve a ranked contender off of another win. This is the fight to make. Joe Pyfer, Ikram Aliskerov. That way you know one of these guys is still going to be a star somewhere. Whoever wins is still going to be a star. Whoever loses, again, they're going to get called a hype train, all this stuff, but you allowed themselves to build themselves back up. At least you have one winner from this. Joe Pyfer, Ikram Aliskerov is a sick fight. Let's do it. Middleweight. It's perfect. Winner gets a ranked contender, and they start working their way up the rankings. It's a way to build hype. I reckon Pyfer might win that one, too. MVP with one of the most boring fights of all time against, what's his name? Ian Gary. Now, does he deserve a shot up at the rankings? No. But if we don't make this fight, I'm afraid we'll never get it. In a way, this will be better because Wonderboy's not shooting a takedown. MVP's not shooting a takedown. Wonderboy had to fight Shavkat after he got screwed by Michel Pereira. In this fight, you know someone's not taking down Wonderboy, so you're doing him a favor almost by saying, hey, you're going to get a striker versus striker, two very unique karate matchups. This fight needs to be made. If this fight does not happen in the UFC, this is going to be one of those what-if fights that we need made. And that might be a good idea for a video. I think I'm going to make what-if fights that need to be made so that way we never get a chance to miss out on them. That's a good topic. I'm going to put it down in my notes right now. But think about it. Wonderboy versus MVP, two karate strikers. I think it would be sick. I think it would be absolutely sick. What-if fights. Perfect. I just think it would be a sick fight. I thought Gary versus MVP was going to be a boring pitter-patter fight on the feet. But MVP showed he's willing to go into those exchanges, and Wonderboy will do the same. So I think this is the fight you make. 307 main card. It's going to be in Salt Lake City. MVP didn't take a lot of damage. Wonderboy hasn't fought since December of 2023, last year. MVP versus Wonderboy Thompson, Salt Lake City. Make it happen. Main card. This would be sick. Ian Gary, boring win over MVP, got turned into a wrestler because his striking is not as much as we thought it was, or MVP's really is just that good. Listen, like I said, I think McGregor's going to be on this card. I think this card is going to be McGregor-Chandler. And I don't think they're going to put any other title fights on it. Unless it's like Raquel Pennington. But if you do McGregor Chandler, co-main, feature fight, MVP versus Wonderboy Thompson, you have as the featured prelim Peyton Talbot versus Adrian Yanez. You could even have that open up the card. And you do Ian Gary versus Colby Covington as the co-main. You have a fantastic fight. You have a fantastic night of fights. You don't even need a title on the line. You have 3 insane fights that everyone wants to see, and then 1 prospect that's going to get tested. That's a good way to build a fight card. That's the one to do, and you don't have to pay anyone other than McGregor and Chandler pay-per-view points. Fuck Colby. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't bring in names. He might bring in value, but just because people want to see him fucking die out there. Make it happen. Ian Gary, Colby Covington, there's no excuses at this point. And Colby Covington might actually take the fight after seeing how Ian Gary was a little bit hesitant against MVP. Mayra Bueno Silva sucks. Give her Norma Dumont. Bantamweight fight. She needs to fight down in the rankings. Norma Dumont needs to fight up off the win. I like Norma Dumont. Cake. Fight night, November, prelim. I don't want to see this on a main card, but for some reason they want to put Bueno Silva on a main card. Fight night, November, prelim, Apex. This is good. Macy Chiasson versus Kayla Harrison. Now, I was going to say Kayla Harrison should fight for a title. Kayla Harrison, sadly, is not fighting for a title because it's going to be Pennington versus Pena. Stupid. Give Kayla Harrison one more win. She'll dispose of Macy Chiasson, the number 3 ranked contender. Then she gets a title fight after that. October main card of a fight night. I'm okay with Kayla Harrison on a main card. She is the only person in the bantamweight division that I want to watch fight, other than Amanda Nunes was. She's the only one that's entertaining. She puts a beating on her opponents, vicious ground and pound, good judo, good grappling. She's a talented fighter. And she puts a beating on her opponent. So I'm okay with a main card fight in October, Macy Chiasson versus Kayla Harrison. Anthony on paper Smith is the worst fighter when he steps in the octagon. On paper, you're going to get your ass beat by Dominic Reyes. On paper, I want to watch Dominic Reyes beat your ass. And we're going to do it on a fight night main card in November. No more pay-per-views for Anthony Smith, man. No more. No one wants to see it. He's not entertaining. He's not fun. He's not good. He's obnoxious. Takes up a spot on the press conference. Just don't do it, man. Sucks. Fight night, November, main card, Dom Reyes, Anthony Smith. It's a good way to make it happen. Dominic Reyes deserves a shot at the rankings. I think he beats the fuck out of Anthony Smith on paper and in the cage. This is the one to do. Dom Reyes, Anthony Smith, fight night, November, main card. Roman Dolidze, not a great fighter, schooled Anthony Smith somehow. He should kind of stay at light heavyweight. I don't think he's gonna. 308 main card. Paulo Costa. This gives Paulo Costa a win, puts some more spark in his name. I think it's a good fight to make. I think it's one that can get Paulo in the win column, or if Dolidze wins, it's a much better win on his resume. So, Paulo Costa, Roman Dolidze, I think this is a fight that just hasn't happened yet. We should see it happen. Do it on the Abu Dhabi main card. I think it's a great fight to put on the card. If you want him still at light heavyweight, you can do him versus like a Nikita Krylov. You can do him versus like a Paul Craig. Paul Craig's middleweight now. You can do him versus like a Johnny Walker. Like you can have him fight someone at light heavyweight that's outside the top 5, outside the top 10 maybe, or just at 10. But let's see what he wants to do. I think he should go. I think he should stay at light heavyweight, if I'm being honest, but I just got a feeling he's going to middleweight because he has his number there at 10. So, Roman Dolidze, Paulo Costa, make it happen, 308 main card. Dan Ige saving the card. Now, Dan Ige going on a fight night main card in October. Took some damage, nothing overly relenting where he's not going to be able to fight in 4 weeks. 4 months. I don't think he should fight Chepe Mariscal. He shouldn't do that in 3 weeks. You stepped up. You did a huge favor to the UFC. Don't screw yourself by fighting a guy outside the rankings on 3 weeks' notice. Don't do it. Fight in October on the main card against Lerone Murphy. Fight a guy up in the rankings. He deserves a favor. He did the UFC a huge favor. He deserves a favor back. Lerone Murphy, Dan Ige was supposed to be happening a while back. It didn't end up happening. Ige versus Murphy, make it happen now. Fight night, October, main card, do a co-main. This would be a good fight. If you did Murphy versus Ige, 3-round, or maybe even a 5, don't do 5-round co-main events for everything, but in front of a crowd, co-main event, feature fight of a stacked card like in Texas or something like that, would be sick. Diego Lopes, the Sphere. Have him at the Sphere on the main card. Didn't take too much damage again. Got tired. Had to do crazy weight cuts. The Sphere is going to be on September 14th. We are on July 2nd right now. Pardon me, dude. I just got all the phlegm and still no voice, so sorry. Diego's got to fight on the Sphere. Got to put him on these big cards. Rebook Ortega. I get it. It's an easy decision to make. Maybe you do Yair. Book Ortega. I think he slaughters Ortega. You don't do Ortega any favors. He might go up to 155, and Ortega goes up to 155, then do Yair on the Sphere card. But I think he beats the fuck out of both of them. Ortega's the 3 spot. Let him take that 3 spot. He fucking deserves it after all the shit he went through this weekend. So, Diego Lopes, Brian Ortega, make it happen. Jiri Prochazka. Lost. Sad. MSG card, John Jones card, 5 months from now, gives him time to train and get better like he said he wanted to do. Co-main or the feature fight, Jamal Hill. Another one of these fights where if we don't see it happen soon, we may not get it, and we need to see it happen. Jamal Hill, Jiri Prochazka is a sick fight. If Jamal Hill wins, he may get another shot at the title at light heavyweight. If he doesn't win, or if Jiri wins, he's going to have to fight one more time. Jamal might even have to fight one more time because of what Pereira's might have to do. So, let's see. But Jiri Prochazka, Jamal Hill needs to be made. This is a sick fight. Unbelievably talented strikers. They got chinned by Pereira. Their only thing in common right now is they got chinned by Pereira and they were former champions. They both beat Glover. So they got a lot in common. Don't know why I said the first thing, but Jiri versus Jamal Hill. Make it happen, guys. This is a no-brainer. In December, the light heavyweight champion in the main event, Alex Pereira. He should fight in December. Take 6 months, dude. You've been super active. Take the 6 months. You're going to want to see how things play out. Is it going to be Ankalaev? Is it going to be Aspinall? Is it going to be John Jones? It's going to be Aspinall. And the reason why, John Jones is going to fight Stipe on 309. I think Pereira wants to be far more active than everyone, like than John Jones wants to be. That fucking bitch. Wife-beating, PED cheating bitch. But anyway, Aspinall's fighting in July. I'm willing to bet he's willing to take on Alex Pereira over Volkov. It makes sense. You can't put Volkov right into it right away because he already lost to Aspinall super easily. Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall, UFC 310 main event, and this is yet again another case, and UFC 310 is in November. I'm sorry, December. But this is another case where if we don't see a guy like Alex Pereira take a shot up go up a division to try and get his 3rd belt in a 3rd division, we may never see something like this happen again. And we are going to kick ourselves down the road. If we see a fight, if we don't see this fight and we know we could have made it now, and it would be justified. And the reason I say it's justified, yes, Ankalaev is a top contender. But off of beating who? Anthony Smith? Ion Kudalaba? Johnny Walker? This dude beat Johnny Walker. This guy would beat Johnny Walker. This guy would beat Johnny Walker. This guy would beat Johnny Walker. This guy lost a decision to Johnny Walker, but again, Walker didn't put him out. I don't know that that's impressive of a resume, Ankalaev. Actually, I know that it's not that impressive of a resume, and you can't be sitting out like this. Take one more fight. Do Ankh versus Rakic. Ankh versus Krylov, too. And if you win that fight, then you get the title shot. But for now, we have a chance to get a guy as a 3-division champion, or a champion in 3 different divisions in his career. We need to take a chance at it, and I'm willing to bet Tom Aspinall will take that fight. It would be a good, entertaining fight, and I don't know that it's as one-sided as I thought it was before. I'm probably picking Aspinall, yes. But this is a sick fight. Let's make it happen. This is UFC 303 Matchmaking. Hope you enjoyed the video.